Okay, let's bring in Neama Rahmani, former federal prosecutor and president of West Coast Trial Lawyers. But right now, he is actually in Miami. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Of course, Ben. Thanks for having me, as always.
It's good to see you. Let's get into this. From a legal perspective, does an ICE agent filming on his phone while holding a firearm undermine any claims that his actions were potentially unreasonable?
It does, and that's one of the biggest takeaways. The fact that you have this ICE agent using his cell phone to record this interaction is not only unreasonable, it's not protocol. And the fact that he has a weapon in his other hand, it is a big problem. This video does not help the ICE agent or the government's position that he acted in self-defense.
We have seen a lot of arguing online about whether the ICE agent placed himself in front of the vehicle. If an agent does place himself in front of a vehicle, can he legally claim self-defense when some would argue that his danger was caused by his own positioning?
He can, but again, it's not typical. You see the agent in this case circle the vehicle not once, but twice and place himself in front of a vehicle. We've all been pulled over, and we all know that police officers and federal agents, they don't place themselves in front of a vehicle. That was unreasonable. And it also appears that he seems, and the agents seem to be agitated, not by Rebecca Good, who seems to be calm and friendly. Maybe she was mocking them, but by Good's wife. And that's why they asked her to get out of the vehicle. That's a problem for the case as well, because it seems to be a case more about agitation than self-defense.
How much does officer provocation or agitation matter when evaluating the legality of deadly force?
Ben, it matters a lot, especially in this case. I think probably one of the most damning pieces of evidence is the expletive that seems to be uttered after Renee Good was shot. That seems to indicate that this was about revenge or anger rather than any real self-defense. Again, this is a problem and probably the best evidence we've seen so far. Obviously, I would love to see the body cam video, but the fact that we even have this cell phone video and we have an ICE agent shooting not once, but twice, 3 times, and then uttering an expletive afterwards, that's a problem for any defense in this case, whether it's a civil or criminal case.
One thing that really shocked me in the new video that was released was the swearing. It was quite aggressive by the agent. Does the agent's conduct after the shooting, including the personal insults, which he did say, factor into whether this was self-defense or retaliation?
It absolutely does. You're trying to get into the agent's state of mind. What did he believe? And we know it's an objective standard and he has to be reasonable. But the fact that you have an agent shooting someone and killing them and then uttering an expletive, that's a problem. Now, maybe the government will argue that he's saying that because he was hit by the vehicle, but that is not how we want our agents to act. They're supposed to de-escalate, not escalate the situation. And for everyone who's saying that she was obstructing, she assaulted the officer or agent, well, that's a reason to potentially arrest her, not kill her. So they're conflating 2 important legal issues.
The Trump administration is very clear on where it stands, but we are seeing so much backlash at the moment. What do you think are the realistic chances of criminal charges here, and how often are federal agents actually prosecuted?
I think the chances of criminal prosecution is actually high. Not at the federal level. There is no way that Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice is going to prosecute this agent. When you have the President of the United States, the Vice President, the Secretary of Homeland Security defending this action, you can guarantee that there's not going to be a federal prosecution. But the state is its own dual sovereign, and they can move forward with criminal charges regardless of what the feds decide. And I think in this case, I wouldn't be surprised if Attorney General Ellison there in Minnesota decides to file either manslaughter or murder charges. They can do so even though the feds decline prosecution or don't cooperate in the case.
Okay, learned a lot from that. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Neama Rahmani. Thank you.
Of course, thanks for having me as always.